Hi guys, my name is Smurf and this is an idiot's guide to Star Wars The Old Republic. I've basically decided to make a few short videos just to explain certain mechanics of the game, as I've got a few friends who have just started playing and they've never played an MMO before, so they're really new to this kind of play style, and as such are really confused as to certain aspects of the game. This episode in particular is going to be focused more on player versus player, or PvP as it's more commonly known, and in particular on the Warzone feature that Star Wars offers. Warzone's quite like Battlegrounds if you ever played WoW, where you are part of a team. There's 8 players on my team, and you're fighting an opposing team of the same number. And normally Warzones or Battlegrounds are focused around collecting objectives or controlling nodes, and this one is exactly like that. The basic backstory of it is there's 2 ships. You have a ship and your opponent has a ship. You can see them if you look into the sky. And the goal is to kill your opponent's ship before they kill yours. And you do this by controlling a set number of nodes. As you can see, I'm at the left node now. And once activated, that node spawns a anti-air gun, and that will start firing upon your opponent's ship. So we've just got the left node. The other team has just taken the right node, so I'm going to head now to the middle node, where I'm sure there's a big battle, as in most Battleground or Warzone situations, the fights tend to focus around the middle. It's more commonly known as a dead zone. It's very high action. There's a lot of killing that goes on there. And I've just encountered my first enemy, and as I was travelling in a group and he was on his own, he didn't really stand much of a chance. And that's sort of a very defining feature about PvP, is if you're caught on your own, the chances are you're not going to survive very long. Because there are 8 players per team, the chances are anyone you encounter is going to be accompanied by at least one other person. And this is the case here. We're at the middle node, and I think there's 4 or 5 people on my team here, and they just keep walking in one by one, and we're just decimating them. It's very simple. We control 2 of the 3 nodes now, and because we have 2 of the 3 nodes, we have the majority. The chances are, well, in fact, not the chances, the fact is, our guns are going to be firing on their ship more often than their guns are firing on ours, so their ship is taking more damage than ours. So I'm going to focus mainly on defending this middle objective as best I can with my team members, who are going to do exactly the same thing because they know how important this is. If by chance they do happen to skip off to the left side where we caught that first node, then we'll rotate around and take that back, because we always want to have the majority of turrets. So at the moment we're just pushing out a little bit, and we're taking them once they drop down from their spawn area. As you can see, they're not lasting very long because we've got high numbers here. And we've also got our healer on our team who's topping everyone up. But later on you're going to see that they do eventually manage to take that middle node back, and we have to fight to get it back ourselves. Now I'm playing a Imperial agent, and I've spec'd into the sniper tree. I find it sort of a really good class. It's got a lot of nuke, and it's not as immobile as some people think, because the basic mechanic is a lot of your skills you have to be in cover for. So you'll see when I crouch down, which I'm just about to do now, it creates a little barrier in front of me which I can use to dodge bullets and stuff like that. But some of my more powerful skills I can actually just drop into cover and use instantly. I don't need to cast them, and they do a lot of damage. As you can see here, I've just popped what we call a defensive cooldown, that green thing pulsing around my body. What that does is it makes me immune to attacks for 3 seconds. So it's something that I use when I get into a bit of trouble, when maybe I'm in an even fight, and as you can see, by using that I've managed to outlast this fight, and 2 of my teammates have come to save me. Now I think I've bitten off a bit more than I can chew, so I'm going to try and run around this corner, and I do eventually go down. So I've respawned at the starting area now. I'm going to take the speeder and try and get back into the action. But defensive cooldowns are a big part of PvP. Every class, to some extent, has a defensive cooldown which they can use. Now a defensive cooldown is something that negates incoming damage, so it makes you stronger, makes you harder to kill. And generally they're on what we call a cooldown, so once they're activated, you can't use them again for a set amount of time. My one I think is 1 minute long, so I can't use it for another minute. And in PvP, especially when you're outnumbered, or if your HP is dropping quite low, they're very useful to pop defensive cooldowns because they ensure you can survive longer and you can inflict more damage and maybe get an extra kill out of it. Other classes, I know the Inquisitors have a shield which they can place on themselves which absorbs damage. Warriors have I think a 50% damage reduction ability, and Bounty Hunters I think also have a shield. As you can see now, the other team has managed to get back into that middle node and they've actually taken it now, so they control 2 out of the 3 objectives, and my team is going to now start to try and take it back. So we're pushing into the objective now, and my thinking once I get in here is that I want to be on the high ground, because if I'm on the high ground it means that melee classes, so warriors, that guy down there is a melee class, they're going to take a lot longer to get to me. I'm going to have a lot more cover and a lot more mobility, and as such it means that I can perhaps inflict a lot more damage for one, and as you can see here, get a lot of kills. Now this guy is a melee class and he's decided to come up to me, so I went and grabbed one of these pickups that are dotted around all of the PvP maps. They give you certain buffs or make you more powerful. The one I grabbed, the red one, gives you endurance. Now endurance is a statistic, much like other statistics in the game, so like strength, like cunning, which makes you more powerful. But endurance is comparable to resilience in World of Warcraft, and it makes you harder to kill in player versus player. So it gives you a passive damage reduction ability. It makes you take less damage for as long as you've got the buff. So by picking up that endurance buff, I was able to outlast my opponent, who just came up to me, and eventually kill him, as you saw. We're having a little bit of trouble here, so I've had to pop my defensive cooldown again, and I'm getting very low on HP, and that guy managed to take me down the same time I managed to take him down. Talking about these pickups that you can get across the maps, there are 3. There's the endurance one, which you saw me pick up earlier. There's also a health buff, which if you're low on health and you grab the health buff, I think it heals you for 60% of your health. I might be wrong on that. But again, if you're really low on health and you can't heal yourself, so like my class, it doesn't have any healing abilities, it's really good to pick that up, because again, it makes you so much more powerful. It can turn fights, and it has done for me on a lot of occasions. And the third buff which you can pick up is a passive speed buff, which if you touch makes you run 60% faster. I think it's for 10 seconds. So really good for running away or catching up to people. And again, can save your life. Really important. Now, as I'm sure you've probably noticed by watching the video, a lot of the people I'm fighting are either a much lower level than me or a much higher level than me. That guy was level 13. That's because there's no setting of PvP at the moment. I think they've said that they're going to implement level 50 setting. So once you hit max level, you will only fight in war zones of people of your level. But at the moment, all levels can join PvP. Now, normally that would be really unbalanced, because obviously the high levels would be able to practically one-shot the lower level guys. But what they do is they've implemented a gear normalization feature, which basically does exactly what it says on the tin. It normalizes your gear. So the lower level people, the level 13 people in here, and I'm level 30, have exactly the same HP and stats as I do. The only difference, and it is quite a big difference, is that because I'm such a high level, I've had more talents to put into my talent trees and have stronger abilities and more abilities than them, because as I've leveled, I've trained my new abilities. So even though there is still quite a large difference between the levels in PvP, the lower level guys stand a lot better of a chance with gear normalization than if there wasn't. Now, back to the game. As you can see, we've got 2 nodes at the moment, and if you look at the health bars on the ship, you can see our ship is about 100 health ahead of their ship. And I just noticed that there were a few of the bad guys trying to take this node to the left. We've still got it, we've managed to keep it, but we're going to clear these guys out to make sure that they don't get it at all. And again, you can see I've travelled with some of my teammates, so we outnumber them, and as such means we will win this battle. And this thing you can see over my head at the moment, that's an award, and there are a certain number of awards you can pick up in a Warzone, and they're all unlocked by achieving different things. So there's an award for hitting someone with a shot larger than 2.5k. There's an award for healing more than 5k. There's an award for defending objectives. There's an award for killing an opponent. And each award you get gives you bonus XP and Valor. And Valor is tied with a PvP rank. So the more Valor you have, the higher your PvP rank. And the higher your rank means that you unlock titles for your character, and also means that you are eligible for certain PvP gear. And I wouldn't really recommend getting PvP gear while you are leveling like I am. But once you hit max level and Warzones become a part of your daily grind or something that you do regularly, you're going to want a set of PvP gear, because PvP gear has endurance on that stat that we talked about that lowers damage. So once you hit max level, if you get this endurance gear, you're going to be a lot harder to kill in Battlegrounds than if you were just in normal gear like I am now. A couple of other important things to know in PvP that I will go over are kiting and crowd control. Now these are two things that have really been brought over from World of Warcraft. Kiting, when you're just about to see me do it now, I think. When you're attacking an enemy, especially if you're a ranged class like I am, so most of my abilities I use from a distance. When you're kiting an enemy, you're basically trying to stop them from hitting you as much as possible, while still inflicting damage. So this guy over here, the Sith warrior that was just attacking me, I was moving a little bit to ensure that he couldn't really hit me and I could still hit him, and that means that I survive longer and he does less damage because he's not close enough to me to use his abilities. Crowd control is again another thing that's been brought over from WoW. Basically, crowd control means that you incapacitate your opponent with an ability. So I've got a couple that I've been using. I've got a stun and my knockback, which you will have seen a few times, and also I've got a flashbang. Now when I use those on an opponent, it incapacitates them for 5 seconds, so they're not able to do anything for 5 seconds, in which time I can either heal. So like you saw there, I used a PvP healing potion. I can either heal or get myself a safe distance away, run away, or get myself a distance away where I can charge up one of my big shots. So I've got Ambush, which is a 2.5 second cast, so it's a long time to be casting a skill, but it hits very hard. So I can get far enough away to use that safely, and then when they get hit by that ability, the crowd control breaks and they're able to come after me again. But now I've got an advantage because I'm quite far away again, and also I'm already casting abilities, so I'm inflicting damage constantly. Now this Warzone is just about to come to an end. We've got the two nodes, their ships on very low HP, and we've pretty much dominated this game throughout by controlling these two nodes. I think I just get saved here. The scoreboard just pops up just as I'm about to die. And there we go. So we won that. I was managed to get top of the scoreboard. And one more thing that happens at the end of Warzones in Star Wars, which you don't get in any other games that I've known, is an MVP system. Basically, at the end, when the scoreboard comes up, you have the option to vote players on your team as MVP. And now every MVP vote that someone gets also grants them extra Valor, so increases their PvP rank, and gives them a couple more Warzone commendations which they can use to buy potions or PvP gear. So I'm going to wrap this episode up for now. Please let me know what you think about it, either in the comments or send me a mail on YouTube, and hopefully we'll be adding some more videos soon. See ya!